Welcome to Heartache, Health, and Healing. I'm your host, Brenda Munt. I started this podcast to share my journey after losing my husband, and it became a space for exploring how we can all heal, grow, and live more radiant lives. Each episode is filled with insights, stories, and practical tools to help you find light and purpose no matter where you are on your path. This ad is sponsored to you by Glossy. Say goodbye to bloating, digestive issues, and skin woes. Introducing Glossy, a skin and gut routine you can drink. A delicious daily supplement that transforms your skin and gut from the inside out. Science-backed, look and feel amazing. Order at getglossy.com/Brenda Munt or click on the link in the show notes for a discount. Are you looking for everyday essentials that are healthier, safer, and eco-friendly? I work with a wellness company that offers a wide range of products, from natural household cleaners and personal care items to quality supplements and snacks, all delivered right to your door. These products are effective, affordable, and a great way to make small changes toward a healthier lifestyle. For me, it's been about knowing I'm making better choices without spending extra time or money. So if you're curious and want to learn more, I'd love to share how these products could fit into your life as well. So click on the Wellness Online Shopping link in the show notes and let's chat about how to get started. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. My guest today is Carey Conley. I first heard Carey on the Powerhouse Women Podcast. It was so powerful. It's like that kind of conversation that just stays with you. But Carey's journey through loss and how she's turned that pain into purpose really struck a chord with me. Having walked through my own experience of losing my husband unexpectedly, and while our stories are different, that deep process of rebuilding life after loss felt way so familiar. Carey lost both her husband and her son to suicide just 3 years apart. And through it all, she's found a calling to help others rediscover purpose and hope. And she and her daughter even co-wrote a book called Keep Looking Up, sharing their story of finding meaning and healing on the other side of heartbreak. In today's episode, we talk about her journey, the power of having a clear vision for your life, and how purpose can become an anchor in hard times. And I'm so looking forward to this conversation, so let's dive in. Carey, welcome to my podcast. Thank you so much for being here.
Brenda, it's an honor to meet you, and thank you for asking me. I always love doing this.
Awesome. So for those that may not know your story, can you share a little bit about your journey and what led you to the work that you're doing today? And if you want to go into whatever level of detail that you're comfortable with.
Sure, absolutely. It's interesting because people think that I started doing my vision work after losing my husband and my son, and that's not the case at all.
Okay.
I'd been teaching people how to write out a powerful vision for almost 30 years before all this happened. And the reason I did, Brenda, was because when I was in my mid to late 20s, I was doing what we all were taught to do, right? Get the job, get the career, work up the ranks, and I was not doing well with that. So I had a mentor that said to me, Carey, you can create your life to look however you want it to be. You just need to get really clear about what that is. And so she encouraged me in my late 20s to sit down and write out a very clear vision of every aspect of my life of how I wanted it. I wanted to be able to work from home when we had children. I wanted to be able to be in a company where there was a lot of leadership, financial freedom. I got really, really clear, right? So right after that, I stepped into the world of network marketing with a company called Arbonne, which most people are familiar with.
Oh, yep. Heard of them.
And I built a really big team while I was raising my kids. And I had to teach all of my team members how to write their vision on paper because I knew if they didn't have it, they were going to quit. So fast forward 15 years ago, I started teaching it publicly. And 2 years after I started teaching and speaking on it publicly is when I lost my husband and then my son 3 years later. And so I've been doing this for a really long time. It's just that now I've shifted from teaching vision to just entrepreneurs to now teaching it as from a life purpose standpoint to give people hope. That's a journey in a nutshell.
Yeah. So when you were walking through the grief, what helped you start taking those first small steps towards healing? Because you went through an immense loss.
Yeah. Well, there's so many steps involved with grief. And it's unique for everybody.
Right.
And, and the different stages of your life. So when I lost my husband, my son had just graduated from college and was starting a job in Arizona, and my daughter was going back for her junior year. So we were already empty nesters and our kids were out of the house. And
Okay.
um, so what happened at that point, Brenda, is that I'd already been speaking and coaching, and I just my speaking and coaching career just took off. Like 3 months after my husband's memorial, I got my son to Arizona to start his job. I took on a new speaking coaching role, and it just went really fast. And so it kept me very busy and very inspired and very much knowing that I was helping other people
Okay.
while I was making all these moves that I was making from Colorado to Arizona and out to Oklahoma. Um, so there was a lot of figuring out who I was as a widow, because I'd known my husband since high school.
Oh boy.
So a lot of that phase and that season was figuring out how to be a single woman at the age of, late 50s, right? Mid 50s. And then when I lost my son 3 years later, that brought on just a whole different season of life and a whole different layer of grief. Because losing any family member is hard, but losing a child is, just there's no words to define it.
Hmm.
And so after that happened, Brenda, I stopped working for a little while, and my daughter at that point had graduated and was getting married, so she was starting her life. And I've done a lot of different things. I've done a lot. I've done a little bit of counseling, but not a lot of that. Uh,
Hmm.
I did a lot of inward work. I did a lot of quiet time,
Yeah.
devotionals, talking to God, working through that, which I still do now. But now fast forward, now it's been 11 years since my husband. Now I'm in a whole other phase.
Hmm.
So there's, you can't answer that with one simple answer.
Right.
It changes over time.
Yeah. Yeah. I know when I had because I shared with you that in September 21 I lost my husband unexpectedly, and I know I did. It was like I had like 4 months where I was like really focused because I was in that kind of, I was in a situation where I was not able to stay living where we lived. I between like emotionally, financially, and just it was, a lot of property, just a lot involved. There was just I knew there was no way I was going to be able to stay living there.
Right.
And we had the tough conversations, the crappy conversations, long, long, long prior to him ever passing. And he always said, he's like, I know you're gonna outlive me. He's like, you take way better care of yourself than I do. He's like, so if anything ever happens to me, he's like, you need to sell this house, you need to sell all my stuff because he had an 1,800 square foot shop full of I mean, like two snowmobiles, trucks, cars, trailers, two
Wow.
trailers, lawnmowers, tractor, power tools, a hoist, a lift, just you name it. It was
Yeah.
insane. And he's just like, just get rid of all my stuff and move into someplace that you can manage on your own. So when he passed, I was like very laser focused. And
Mhm.
then at that point in time, like the housing market was like on fire.
Sure.
I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, I really probably should do something now while the housing market's good because I can get a decent price. And da, 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 da. My mind's going a million miles an hour. And I look back and I even have like some friends of mine that had helped me, kind of go through a lot of this, getting rid of his trucks and all that kind of stuff. And but I even look back and I'm like, how I managed to get all that done within the time period that I did just still floors me.
Yeah.
But it was just like I was very like laser focused. And it wasn't like it was until like after that, about like 4 to 6 months after that, and then it just
Mm.
hit me like a ton of bricks,
Sure. Yeah.
and I'm kind of like I also dawned on me, I'm like, I'm sitting in my house, I'm like, because at this point in time I had sold the house. I
Mhm.
had no place to live, and
Mm.
the majority of the stuff was gone. And I was slowly starting to pack up and everything. And I'm like, I have never felt so lost in my entire life
Right. Right.
because I had no house, nowhere to go, no
Mm.
husband.
Mm.
And I'm just like, this sucks.
It does. It's a loss of it's two mournings really. It's mourning the loss of your husband and then mourning the loss of you and your identity.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
I've now moved. So I said to you before we got on here that I moved to Oklahoma just a month ago because of my grandchildren. My daughter's here. And but this is my 10th move since losing my husband.
Oh my.
And I won't go into why all that is what it is, but uh, so I have done what you've done and purged and purged and purged and purged to the extent that I don't really have anything that I own anymore that came from my previous life. I have a few things, but very, very little. And it's a very hard process to go through. Very hard. And nobody understands it until you have to go through it. And it's a good thing you had help. And it's a good thing that you followed your own instinct because, you know, when my husband passed, a lot of people said to me, don't make any sudden moves.
Mm-hmm.
I did
Yeah.
everything what they told me not to do. Um, but that was just me. I knew that I had to keep moving in order to survive and to, you know, help my adult children start their lives and keep my career going. And um, now I'm in kind of a pause season because
Okay.
I've been moving a lot for the past 11 years. And so now that I'm here in Oklahoma, I'm kind of like easing into things more like I've never done before. And that's
Uh,
what I'm in now.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I still have not. I'm actually the shirt that I'm wearing, he was a big Arctic Cat man, a huge Arctic Cat fan, Arctic Cat snowmobiles. And he had a lot of Arctic Cat clothes, and I kept all of them. And I actually, some of them I really liked, so I actually had them tailored to fit me.
Hey, what you need to do.
Yeah. So all of his Arctic Cat stuff I still have, and I have not been able to get rid of it. So, but
It's so funny that you say that. I have one t-shirt in my dresser right now that my husband wore in high school. Uh,
oh,
why I kept it, I don't know. But and it has the year he graduated from high school, which was 1979, has a big 79 on it.
okay.
I think that's why I've kept it is because that's when we started dating. So, because it would be super hard for me to toss that out. It means nothing to
Yeah.
anybody else other than me.
Yeah.
There are a few little
Cool.
things that I've held on to, but yeah, I've purged a lot, girl. 11 moves,
Yeah.
10 moves, and you just,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow.
All the
I
furniture you're seeing behind me right now in this new apartment, it's pretty much all new since I got here.
Yeah. Uh, so I want to go down the path of finding purpose and vision. So you said that purpose is what gives people hope.
Mhm.
So I'd love to hear what that looked like for you personally, and how did you begin to find purpose again after loss?
Mm. Well, I've said this on the podcast that you were listening to that the vision of my life has changed of what I originally thought it was going to be. You know, I thought my
Hmm.
point would be looking at retirement. 2 years before he passed, we had just bought a home that we downsized into that I thought we were going to ride out our later years in, right? In Colorado, which is where we're from. So the circumstances and my location and all of that has changed, but what I do has not. And that's what I
Okay.
teach people about the importance of having a vision. It's not just creating what lifestyle you want, it's understanding what you stand for and what you believe your legacy is that you want to leave. And I wrote
Hmm.
that years ago that I wanted to be a leader, impact other leaders. Right now, I'm working on a platform that I'm building for young adults because I
Nice.
really want to help them right now because most of them don't have a vision. They don't know what it means to have a purpose. And so they're really struggling. And so when I get people to write their vision, Brenda, what I get them to do is I give them a time period. I want them to think 3 years out from today, how old they will
Hmm.
be, how old their family members will be, and then
Okay.
craft for me what their dream life would look like in every area, right? Because in that, when they write that out, things start bubbling up as to what really matters to them most, and they identify what they really want to leave as a legacy.
Okay.
It's not the stuff, it's not the money, it's what we believe we were sent here to do,
Hmm.
right? And that's why
Yeah.
I say when you have a written vision like that, Brenda, it will get you through just about anything, right? No matter your circumstances. Because
Hmm.
when you have that anchor, you can you'll go through the storms, but you can ride it out because you've got that anchor on the other side. My latest book
Yeah.
that I wrote, I co-authored it with 19 other authors. It's called Unshakable. Stories to Anchor You Through Life Storms. And it's 19 authors plus me writing a chapter on some sort of adversity they've been through and what anchored them to get to the other side.
Okay.
Need an anchor.
Yeah. Yeah. I had after I lost my husband, I always knew that it took me much longer in life to kind of figure things out, but I'm a little slow on that part of it, but I'm getting there.
All good. Sure.
But I always knew I was like meant for more meant to help other people.
Yeah.
So I started going down a path of more of the fitness and nutrition piece of it. And you see me, my workout videos in the morning that I
Queen.
share my story, that I share my stories. And but it's like after I lost him, I went on my own healing journey, because I had went through, it's called the Grief Recovery Method Program, because I knew I needed something to help myself,
Sure.
and I just counseling didn't kind of feel right, or anything like that. So I came across this. I went through that. It was a massive intensive 4 days, and it was very emotional, very hard, but it was very helpful.
Okay.
And then after that, then I discovered breath work, and breath work had really, really, really helped me. And then so then now then my purpose had changed from, I still like the fitness nutrition piece of it, but then it now came into the emotional healing piece of it.
Right.
And I'm like, oh my God, I'm like, life is so hard. It can be so challenging, and we all go through so many different things, and it's different for everybody. And that healing aspect of it is so important. And so now I've shifted into that within the last 4 years, and it's just been incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. Out of pain comes the purpose, right? Find the
Yeah.
purpose out of the pain. So many people turn their messes into their messages. And so,
Hmm.
as I mentioned earlier, I was a speaker prior to all this happening, Brenda. So I was already kind of public.
Right.
Then when my story, because I was very public with that, my daughter and I co-authored a book called Keep Looking Up, which I think you mentioned.
Yeah.
For a while, she and I were speaking together, and then she started having babies. So she's a little busy now. But you either let the pain take you down or you use it to for good. And I think between
Uh,
you and I, my friend, I've done very little counseling. Like I said, I needed to go inward, but I get the most healing when I speak and get in front of people and help them with their vision because it inspires me and I know that I'm making a difference,
hmm.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. And my podcast came out of that as well.
Sure.
Yeah. Because I wanted a space to kind of share my story and my journey, in the hopes that maybe somebody listening to it, that it would help them, and that they would know that they're not alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we all need that now more than ever. We've become such a lonely culture because it's so easy to isolate. It's so easy to get on social media and see what's happening out there and feel like we're not
Oh gosh.
good. I hear that a lot from the young adults that I work with. So, but we need to be more connected. We need to talk to each other more and just say, look, I'm going through the same thing.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah, definitely.
it's powerful than anything.
Yeah. So, was there a defining moment at all when you realized that you wanted to help others find their own purpose and vision, or is it just something you kind of knew all along?
Well, like I said, my journey was that I had a mentor that said, you're never going to fit this 9 to 5 gig, Carrie. It's never going to be your deal.
Hmm.
You're going to need to figure out what you really want to do so that you can craft the life you want. And so, because it worked for me, Brenda, because everything I wrote out, so I wrote it all out. And then I had my son, and I was still working full time. So he went into daycare, and I was miserable that he was in daycare. And then I got pregnant with my daughter, and I was really wanting to stop working before she was born to get my son out of daycare.
Hmm.
That At that moment, 5 months pregnant with my daughter was when I was introduced to Arbonne. And
Okay.
I just knew because all the things I'd written in my vision statements, work from home, six financial freedom, earning trips, leadership, it checked all the boxes. So when it showed up in my life, I was like, this is it. I just knew. And so because that worked for me, like I said, I started creating that training for all of the leaders that I brought into my team.
Hmm.
And seeing how it affected them is why I knew several years later that I needed to teach it publicly. So it's been a very big progression, but I will tell you this. I believe the day I sat down and wrote my vision, Brenda, that God was just pouring into me, because all of it was divinely written. And I believe that he knew what was coming in my life, obviously. So that was a seed that was planted in me years ago to get really good at this vision thing and teach others so that I would be strong enough to teach it after losing my husband and my son. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And
S- So if you have somebody that has, so I know that you're working a lot with like the youth and the young adults, all that, which I think is fabulous because I feel like they're under so much pressure, unnecessary pressure. Because I had one of my best friends from high school in July of 21, her 23-year-old daughter jumped off the tallest bridge in Green Bay and took her life.
yeah,
And so, and I, so just to know that it's just that they just were kind of at that, I don't even, I can't even wrap my head around it. But so I think it's awesome that you're doing that. So somebody that if you're working with that group that of youth, young adults, and they're having a hard time kind of processing that and or as far as like putting down their vision on paper.
Mhm.
So, so like myself as an example, because I mean, I have a hard time. I got a lot of stuff going on up in my head, but to articulate that and get that out of my brain and down on paper, and I have a hard time with that.
Okay.
So, how do you help somebody like in my situation kind of write out that nice, clear vision?
Right. Well, that's why I use a time frame, timestamps, and age, because
Okay,
time and aging is non-negotiable, right?
right.
So I'm 63, Brenda. So 3 years from now, I'll be 66. And so I have a really clear vision of what I want my lifestyle to look like at that age. Knowing what my daughter's family life will look like and how involved I want to be there, and the things that I still want to accomplish, right? The legacy that I want to leave, the travel that I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I get people to think of time stamping, aging, and then I also give them categories of life to think about. And there's 7 of them that I use. Your faith life, community, whatever that looks like. Your
Mm-hmm.
family, what does that look like? Your friends, fitness and health, which I know you're clear on. Your fun, what are you doing for fun? Finances,
Mm-hmm.
field, your career.
Okay.
Which is where I end up coaching people the most is the career thing. So when I stepped away from building my network marketing team, I stepped into coaching, and most of the people that I've coached over the past 15 years now are mostly service-based entrepreneurs that they don't have a clear vision.
Mm-hmm.
Means they don't know how to create a money-making business plan for their business that aligns with the vision for their life, right?
Okay.
See, I jumped into Arbonne because I knew it checked all the boxes of what I wanted and it aligned with the lifestyle that I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times people come to me and going, I've got all these different paths I can go down and I don't know which one to choose. And I tell
Mm-hmm.
them, okay, we need to have the vision written first because then we'll be able to decide which vehicle fits that.
Okay.
So when I work with anybody of any age, really, but with young adults, it's kind of the same thing. They're making a lot of decisions. When I say young adults, I'm talking early 20s to like early 30s, right?
Okay.
They're getting out, they're figuring out their adulting world and kind of disillusioned with what they're seeing. And some of them coming out of college and a year later going, why am I doing this? Like, uh, so I get to be the one to talk to them about, tell me what you really want. Where are you living? Define to me where you want to live.
Mm-hmm.
A high rise in New York, you living out, you know, in the mountains somewhere. It's your life. Define it so that when we start talking about different paths you can go down, we can start exploring the one that makes the most sense.
Okay. Okay. So so when you're talking, because you always talk about the clear vision. So that clear vision, is that like what was it seven steps that you went through or 7 areas?
7 F's. Yeah.
Okay. So that's what you consider would be your clear vision or what you mean by your clear vision.
I just want people to paint a picture for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a new client that I just, she also heard me on that podcast, Brenda. tracked me down, had just lost her husband 9 months ago.
Oh.
She's a realtor, but she wants to go into helping people through grief. And so now I said to her, can you write for me out what you see 3 years from today? What do you want your life to look like? As much as you can see it right now. It's kind of hard because she's new in this grief process.
Yeah.
But she's got a really clear vision that she wants to be helping a lot of people moving through it. And so we are now fleshing out some of those. So I had her define to me, where are you living? How are you spending your time? What are you doing with your grown daughters? What do you do for fun? What is she
Mm-hmm.
financially to keep going? So we got real about
Okay.
the numbers, right? So it's just you get to paint the picture of whatever you want.
Yeah. Yeah. I yeah, I need to really I jot some stuff down, but I'm just never very consistent with it. It's like I have
Well,
it, like I said, it goes back to it's like I have stuff in my brain. I just like need to like just really sit down and write it down and lay it out. Yeah.
yeah. It's hard for everybody, Brenna. Especially if you skew towards being really creative, right?
Okay.
Because you can have a lot of really great creative ideas, but it's hard to put it on paper and then build a timeline around it, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can
Yeah.
get distracted.
Oh gosh. Yeah. That squirrel could pop up anytime and my
Yeah,
brain will go off
a lot of
to
those people. Yeah, yeah. But I'm the one that keeps bringing everybody back, going, okay, let's talk about because so here's why what I do is different. I not only get people to write a vision, I get them to timestamp things for me.
Okay.
It doesn't get away from them. All right. So I'm going to go back to when I started in network marketing. Okay. Remember, I said I
Mm-hmm.
had a 2 year old, I was working full time, and I was 5 months pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
My very first goal was to get to a place in the company that I was making enough money to quit my job in 3 months and get my son out of daycare and stay home. So I had a timestamp that was non-negotiable.
Uh,
That baby was coming.
that's
This is what most people don't do is they don't put non-negotiable timestamps on things. So
yeah, yeah.
whatever, someday it'll happen. Next year, now we're
I'm guilty of that.
or well, most people. Same thing with our book, Brenda. When we wrote our book, my daughter and I, we had the idea in January of 2019, and we knew that we wanted to do a major book launch on my son's birthday on November 11th that year.
Okay.
So when we met with the publisher, we said, "Here's our deadline. We're going to have a huge book launch on 11/11." And so because that was a non-movable date, we were able to make a 6 year plan and stick to it.
Oh, wow.
I'm sorry, not 6 years, 6 months. Do you see what I'm
Wow.
saying?
Yeah.
So what I get people to do and what scares them the most is to put dates on things that they can't move.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. Making me a little anxious just thinking about
Right?
it.
It scares everybody. And they're like, oh my gosh, that means I like really have to do this. I'm like, it's your vision, it's your life. But if you don't put
Yeah,
that on it, you just don't know what tomorrow brings. You and I both know that.
right. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I know for me, what keeps me going, I mean, I feel like I look back and I know I've made progress. I mean, significant progress, you always feel like you're never as far along as what you would hope, you know.
Yeah.
But but the thing that keeps me going and keeps plowing forward is like I don't want to have regrets.
Yes, that's a big thing. And I
I
think,
don't I don't want that what if.
yeah. Well, we just self-sabotage ourselves so much is the problem. And we have to think about that. Like, how am I going to feel if I don't follow through with this one thing I keep saying is going to be my legacy,
Hmm.
right? I've talked about building this young adult community for years now, and we're finally in the stages of going full throttle with that. But it's because I know that it's the thing that everybody is aware that it matters the most to me, and I have a lot of people supporting it.
Yeah,
And I don't
it's
know
awesome.
what your personality is like, but I am loyal to a fault. And if there are people supporting something I'm doing, it is impossible for me not to do it.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. So can we talk about your book a little bit? Your book, Keep Looking Up, that you and your daughter co-wrote. So can you share a little bit about that? I mean, I know it evolves around your journey and all that, but what could readers take away from that book?
So we decided to write this book, not so much to share our story, but because we had so many people come to us, Brenda, saying, I don't know, I need your help how to move through this adversity, but mostly so many people coming to us saying, how did you guys get through this? And how can I help other people moving through stuff?
Mm-hmm.
So we wrote the book, and it's 11 chapters because 11 means a lot to us. 11, my son's birthday. And it's a chapter on something we learned throughout the journey. So I talk about my perspective and she talks about hers because they're very
Okay.
different.
Yeah.
And there's some questions at the end that you can ask yourself, or if you're like in a group and you're reading the book together.
Okay. Very cool.
So we talk, in the intro, we talk about how we lost my husband and lost my son, but it's really 11 chapters on what we learned in the journey that helped us.
Mm-hmm.
One chapter I will hit on that I think is both my daughter and I's favorite is finding your super safe people.
Ah,
So we
yes.
learned after my husband passed that there were a lot of people that were not safe. And well, from a safe standpoint, meaning um, they wanted this is gonna sound horrible, but they wanted more from us than we were able to give, and and some people just didn't know how to deal with us because suicide is
Mm,
hard to deal with. So
yeah.
we lost a lot of friends and family members that just couldn't hang with us, right? So we figured out from that situation who we could really count on, so that when my son passed, we had those people in place. We knew
Mm-hmm.
who to rely on and why. And so we talk a lot about that, about how to find your super safe people so that if anything happens, you'll know who to turn to and why, and they'll know what to do
Yeah.
for you,
Yeah.
not for them.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that is very important. I always I always remember when my husband passed away, I had a guy that I used to work with. He had lost his wife many, many, many years ago to colon cancer. And he reached out to me. He texted me. He's like, "Hey, he's like, I heard about your husband. I'm really sorry. Sorry for your loss." He's like, "Just know that he's like, a lot of people are going to say some really stupid things, but just know that they mean well."
Yes, they do. Well, they just don't know what they don't know. They're mom.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, we talk a lot about words and what to say, what not to say, how different
Hmm.
perspectives people can take on, because so many people wanted to rush to our house and just sit in a circle and, do all the things that we were just like, no, we just, um, it was hard for them to understand that. And I think it hurt some people's feelings. And we talk about that in the book too. But we had to do what we needed to do for us. And it's hard for other people to understand. Um, they would want something different.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
I'm glad, super glad that you guys found your safe people. So, because I do think that's very important because I too do have my safe people. Yeah. So, can we talk a little bit about I want to dive a little bit deeper into the work that you are doing with the young adults. So, is it a specific program or how just elaborate on it a little bit more if you could.
Yeah. A lot of that is being fleshed out right now, Brenna,
Okay.
figuring out how would they respond to having something for them like a community? Would they come on to live Zoom calls a couple times a month to get coaching, mentoring on all different topics, right? I've dabbled in that a little bit, doing some calls with a few of them already to see what the response would be.
Mm-hmm.
And then also seeing, okay, if we had like a membership-based program where they could get access to a lot of different recorded things on all these different topics, what that would look like.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe actually even doing a live retreat once a year.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
Kind of figuring all that out right now, but I'm listening to their voice of what they would do and what they want. Because
Okay.
I'm 63, they're not. So I would want might be totally different than what they want and what they'll show up. Right. So we're working together on that.
Okay. Okay. I want to go back on the grief part a little bit. So, how did you How did you hold space for both the grief and the hope and the joy to coexist?
I'm still in process of that. Seriously.
Okay.
Like I said, I got so busy right after my husband passed, um, that there wasn't a lot of downtime, and that suited me at the time. Most recently, as I told you, I've moved and have shifted a lot of what I've been doing and put a pause on a lot of things. So right now, for the first time, I'm allowing a lot of space for nothingness so that I can just kind of let things flow.
Okay.
Very uncomfortable for me because I have lots of plates at the same time. I'm
Yeah.
notorious for it. So I'm in a whole new space right now. So I think the message here is to allow the season to be what it is and to not let anybody judge you for it, not beat yourself up about it, give yourself a lot of grace. Um, and just, and everybody moves at a different journey. It's very unique. So there are days that I'm good and there are days that I'm not good. And that's okay.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. I often think of, like if I'm go someplace and a friend of mine had the couple that lost their daughter, and her husband has made that said the comment, and it just kind of really resonated with me because I felt it so often was that you can feel alone in a room full of people.
Yes, you can. Absolutely. One of the things
Yeah.
I noticed about my personality that changed a lot, especially after losing my son, is I used to be very extroverted. I networked a lot. If there was a party, I was at it, and I was one of the last to leave. Um, and all of that really changed, especially after losing my son, because I couldn't. One, because um, the looks that I would get when I walk in the room, Brenna,
Ugh.
that that look, where they'd see you and then
Yeah.
you're like, oh, I gotta live through this right now through them because they're now seeing me and they're living it, and I gotta, it's that whole thing.
Hmm.
And the conversations became fluffy. Um, and I just didn't have the energy for it. So what really changed was my amount of space of time that I could do that. And
Hmm.
when I first started networking after my son passed, I think I went for like a half an hour and then I left. And that was okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, you just kind of your personality changes, but it's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, made me think as we just had our class reunion a couple weekends ago, and then my friend and I were talking about it, and I'm like, I said, "Are you going? Do you want to go?" And she's like, "I don't know." She's like, "What are you thinking?" I'm like, I said, "If you want to go," and I'm like, "I'll go if you guys are going." I'm like, "But if you're not going, I'm not going." And we both felt the same thing where we just really did not have a desire
Right,
to get the looks and
right,
then the awkwardness,
right.
and yeah, so I'm like, yeah, no, I'm good not going.
You know what I also learned is it's okay for me to say, look, right now I feel like I could go, but if that day I don't feel it, I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah,
Just give me some grace. And a lot of people did. So, and I still do that to this day. I really gauge day by day how I'm feeling and does it feel right? Do I really want to go? And if I don't, I trust it and it's okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So if someone is feeling lost right now, whether it's from loss or transition or lack of direction, what is one simple thing that you'd want them to know or try today?
Number one, I want them to know that there is light at the end of the tunnel, no matter what the circumstances look like right now. And it will, for whatever, however much you can think about a future, give it a shot. Take a look at it as if it's beyond where you are right now and what you want it to look like. I know that's really
Mm-hmm.
hard, especially if you are really grieving and the joy is just not there.
Mm-hmm.
I think the most important thing is that you've got to have a lifeline of a person or two that you can talk to at any time of day that you can be super honest and tell them exactly how you're feeling, right? Like I have those people that I can call them just at the worst moments and they'll drop everything.
Mm-hmm.
They've given me a lot of grace in times that were really hard. So you've got to have that, and however that looks for you. Maybe it's one purpose, maybe a person, maybe it's a group.
Mm-hmm.
My daughter's done some group therapy, and she really enjoyed that. And it's not my thing, but just
Yeah.
that you're still here for a reason, and to give it a shot, see if you can see a vision beyond where you are right now, and talk to somebody about it, whether it's a best friend or a professional.
Right.
Have a lifeline.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
Mhm.
So what does keeping looking up mean to you at this season of your life?
Well, the reason we say keep looking up is because we have a very heavenly perspective on life. We know where they are,
Mm-hmm.
that we'll all be together again. And for us, that's everything, right? This is just where we are right now. I also know that they are very much still involved in our life from the other side. They are a big source of power for us.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we mean by keep looking up.
Yeah. I can totally relate to that. Totally relate to that.
Perspective, and I don't know how it's possible for people to get through life after a major loss without having that belief. But that was, and actually, the title of the book came from when at my son's memorial, we gave out orange golf balls, and it said, "Keep looking up on them."
Aw.
That's where we got.
That's awesome. Yeah, when I had gotten into, doing the podcast and then got into the breath work and all that, the emotional healing side of things. And I had one night I had guided a group full of people through a breathwork journey, and it was incredible. I mean,
Right.
just the outcome that the people had and just their feedback from it, like, oh my God, this is amazing. And I was like on this high. And it's like the next morning, it like hit me like a ton of bricks.
Yeah.
And also I'm like, I would not be doing this if he was still here.
Right.
And I felt so guilty. And I
Mm,
literally just started bawling.
right.
And I mean, it took me out. I mean, mentally, it took me out for like the whole day.
Yeah.
And, and because I still work a full-time job and I'm at work and I'm like, oh my God. And I finally, my best friend that lost her daughter, we're kind of like each other's person when it comes to this kind of stuff. And so I texted her, I need to unload here. I need to unpack this. And I'm like, I'm really stuck here. And I kind of went off and texted everything to her. And then she kind of came back with me some things that kind of made me think, but even what she had said to me still didn't kind of register right away until I got home. And then I know I was back and forth with one of my cousins messaging her, and she kind of said a few things to me. And then all of a sudden it kind of clicked when I got home. And because I have his ashes here with me. So I kind of have his little space and everything. And so I was standing there and I'm looking at his picture and I'm talking to him, and I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, this is a gift you gave me from the other side.
Right. That's
And then I
amazing.
started crying all over again.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know how much you believe in people who they have that gift of being able to connect to the other side. Um,
Hmm.
uh, I have not sought them out. They have just randomly here and there shown up in my life, being able to bring me messages that had just so resonated. And to really give me peace about the fact that, as horrible as this is, that this has a purpose. And and especially with my son, I know that he's working through this a lot, especially with the young adult community. Um,
Yeah.
right. So we just again keep their eternal perspective, Brenda. It's just we're only here for a blip.
Yeah. Yes, definitely.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh. This has been such a good conversation.
I've enjoyed it.
Yes. So where can listeners connect with you, learn more about you, the work that you're doing?
Yeah, my website is super easy. It's just careyconley.com.
Okay.
When you post this show, I will give you a link to my downloadable Vision is Victory workbook that people
Oh,
can
awesome.
out.
Thank you. Thank
Um,
you.
so yeah, I'm everywhere: Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, all the things, right?
Okay, yeah, and I'll put all the links in the show notes so that way it's very easy for somebody just to click and jump to you and go
Great.
follow you and find you. So I do like to end with a question for my guests. So if you were going for a walk out in nature, out in a park, and somebody happened to come walking towards you and they were just drawn to your energy, and they came walking up to you and asked you, what is one thing I could do today to start living a more radiant life? How would you answer that question?
Write out your vision.
I should have known that was going to be the answer.
Because that's the starting point for everything. It's literally the starting point of everything.
Yeah, yeah,
Health, finances, everything. You've got to get super clear on what you want. And
yeah,
but like I said, have a someday dream happening. One day it'll happen. Until you get it in writing and put it down and put some timestamps on things and uncover what you really, really know that you should be doing, it really just becomes a whatever.
yeah,
Vision comes first.
yeah. Love it, love it, love it, love it. Oh, Carey, thank you so much. This has been so joyful, and you're just it was such an honor to have you on and to be able to have an opportunity to speak with you. I greatly appreciate it.
I appreciate you, Brenda. Thank you for reaching out.
Yeah, and thank you so much for the work that you're doing because I think what you're getting into with the mental health and working with the young adults and all that I think is really super important. So,
Thank
and
you.
any way that I can support you, please let me know.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Just being
I-
here is great.
What was that?
Just being here and having a
So,
voice is great.
awesome. Everybody, thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as what I did. And please, please, please go follow Carey. She is just amazing. And I just love the work that she's doing. So until next time, from my heart to yours, thank you so much for listening. Thank you for listening. If you're enjoying my podcast, I would love it if you'd follow, leave a 5-star review, or subscribe. And definitely please share with anyone that you think would enjoy my podcast. And I would love to connect with you. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn, and all the links are in the show notes. And if you'd like to be on my podcast, or if you have any questions for me, or if you have a topic that you'd like me to talk about, please send me a direct message. I enjoy connecting with my followers. Thank you so much for listening.